If there was a motto written for 2020, it would be "Don't panic." Facing the worst. If this is the week your partner walked out saying the marriage is over, they have met someone else and now want a divorce, what should you do? If in spite of your best efforts to salvage a failing marriage, you're facing the inevitable, painful walk toward a divorce, how will you cope? You have probably already faced some difficult truths for many months alone as you examine your marriage. Maybe you had question marks, perhaps you looked at his behaviour, the time he was spending on the phone. This is not a time to struggle on alone. Be very choosy about who you tell, but don't assume that you will be abandoned by everyone. If you're very fortunate, you will have maybe 4 or 5 close friends or family members who would now be willing to help you. Even if you can only think of one friend who will support you, making an opportunity to share your devastating news with them will be better than continuing to bottle up your feelings any longer. Maybe make arrangements to talk things over with someone. Perhaps contact Relate, it might have to be online. Someone who will maybe have counselled others in similar situations, maybe your church minister. If he has experience in pastoral care, he will be quite able to understand your anxieties, tearfulness, sense of despair, or whatever else you may be feeling. And it will help you if you can unburden yourself in a confidential meeting or a phone call with someone. We should also mention that maybe you could make an appointment to consult a solicitor who will be able to give you some idea about where you stand legally and financially and in relation to family matters if there are children involved. Most solicitors will offer you a free initial interview, but ask about this when you phone to make your appointment. When you meet your chosen solicitor, ask yourself the question, do you feel confident that this solicitor is the one to help you? If not, you should be aware that you're able to change solicitors. Just because you consulted one, don't assume that you're now stuck with them. You're free to arrange an initial meeting with more than one solicitor before making your choice of who's going to help you through this legal minefield. Though most solicitors are enthusiastic, hardworking and efficient, there are also some that are not as organised as you had hoped they would be. One time I spoke with a man who told me he'd been separated for 5 long years from his wife. Though the divorce was amicable and there were no children involved, after 4 years with the same legal firm, he was still no wiser about having a forthcoming date when court proceedings would be issued. Never mind the actual divorce being finalised, so that he could move on with his life. Like most people who have no knowledge of legal matters, he didn't want to trouble his solicitor and simply thought they would get back to him soon. This after 4 long years of simply waiting and being patient. I suggested that he phone his legal firm, asking to speak to the senior partner to find out what was holding up the proceeding and when was his divorce likely to go ahead. If they were unable to move things along within the next few weeks, I thought he would be quite entitled to seek a new firm of solicitors. Don't you? Once you have made your choice of solicitor, you do need to feel that they at least are on your side and confident that you can work together. As we said before, you can ask all these questions and still walk away to consult another solicitor, maybe even in another town. A good solicitor working on your behalf may be able to negotiate with your partner or ex-partner's solicitor to ensure that you arrive at a fair financial settlement. After all, saving £2,000 in legal fees because you choose to do it quickly online may not be much use to you if in the process of representing yourself you end up giving away your pension worth £18,000 or your house worth much more. If there are children involved, tell them what's happening at the earliest opportunity. It is natural that they may feel the need to be protected. They don't want to know every item of unpleasant truth, but they will probably have some idea that something has not been right for a long time. The most helpful way of dealing with this is if both parents can be together to talk to the children, explaining that although you won't be living together anymore, you both still love them and will work things out so that you can both see them every week. Of course, if your husband has already left to set up home with his new partner, then you may have to explain things alone to the children. But try to do so in such a way that doesn't blacken their father's character. It will not be helpful in the long term if the children are forced to take sides. The most helpful scenario will be if contact can be maintained with both parents, and this may not be possible if you apportion blame at this stage. Far better to say something honest like, Daddy has moved out to be with Mary from work as things have not been right between us two for a while. But it doesn't mean that he's stopped loving you. None of this is your fault, and we are going to make sure that you still see him regularly. If you don't take the time at this early stage to explain to the children exactly what is going on, they may find out anyway from school friends or family members and may wrongly assume that this is somehow their fault, or that this has all happened because Daddy doesn't love them anymore. If they have always gone to see Grandma on a Sunday, do your best to keep this arrangement. You do not want them to feel that they will be divorced from all of their relatives. Try not to blame his parents. They're probably feeling as angry with him as you are for walking out on his family, and your children will need to maintain a relationship with loving grandparents.